Today we're going to be taking a look at 85022 Pirate Pub sent over to me by Pantasy. For some reason it's not listed on the front box art, but this set contains 2,858 pieces, and on Amazon it has a retail price of only $140, and as you can see there's actually a $10 off sale going on right now. I don't know how long that's going to last. And then for Prime members there's actually a sale right now dropping it down to only $98. And then if you want an even further discount when you buy this set, you can use code FLC Pirate. Now I'm actually very excited to get into this and have high expectations. One, because it simply just looks insane on the front box art, but also, as some of you guys might remember, a few weeks ago I reviewed the architecture firm from Pantasy, and I was absolutely blown away by the detail and high quality of that set. So with this one, I honestly expect nothing less. Another reason I'm excited to get into it is because, well, it's clearly pirate themed, and anything pirate, medieval, western, basically anything fantasy is always right up my alley. So again, because of that, I'm just really excited to build this set. On the right side of the box, you're going to see the dimensions, with the base being 17 by 17 inches, and then it having a height of about 22 inches. On the back of the box, there's a lot going on. On the right side here, you're going to see that this set can actually split apart into 3 different sections, so it's kind of modular. And then also back here, you're going to get your first look at the minifigures. And well, as you can see, they're not the greatest. They're definitely not this company's strong suit. There's also pictures of them on the top of the box, and I'll go over them briefly once I get to them. However, as you can clearly tell, they're not very intriguing at all. Fortunately though, as you'll see here in a second, this set is compatible with real logo minifigures. Opening up the box and digging in, on the inside you're going to find a lot of bags. They're numbered up to bag 14, however, as you can tell here, there's a lot more than 14 bags because a lot of them are duplicates, so just know there's a lot of them. You're also going to find 2 instruction manuals that have some really nice looking art on the front of them, along with 1 singular large sticker, which for a set of this size and this price, I honestly can't really complain about. And then you're also going to find the piece that's supposed to be the sail of the ship. Now here are the minifigures that I briefly showed earlier on the back of the box, and yeah, they don't look good. I mean, I don't really want to waste too much time on these guys. Minifigures are one area where these alt brands are always going to fall short compared to Lego, because Lego has copyright over the actual 3-dimensional shape of their minifigure, and in result from these alt companies we get figures like this, and they simply just don't look good. So if you're buying a set like this for the minifigures, you're gonna be disappointed. However, also like I showed earlier, this set of course is compatible with normal Lego minifigures, so that pretty much makes up for it. But now actually moving on to the build itself, oh my gosh. I mean, I honestly don't even know where to start with this thing. It's freaking insane. There is so much going on, so much insane detail, and lots of different angles. I mean, whoever designed this thing was honestly kind of cracked out of their mind. This is one of the craziest builds I think I have ever seen in person before. And if you're curious, the pieces are exactly like Lego. They have pretty much the exact same clutch power, so they don't fit too tight or too loose, and they're also made out of the same ABS plastic that Lego uses, so the quality is identical. And again, this ginormous set is only $140 on Amazon. And to put that into perspective, I'm going to compare it to some Lego sets that are around the same price range. Here is the 2022 ATTE that retails for $140, and as you can see, it clearly just dwarfs it. It gets even worse when you compare it to the $160 Lego MTT that just released last year in 2025. Again, like the ATTE, just completely dwarfs it. And then here we have it next to the UCS Jango Fett Slave 1 that is more than twice the price at $300. And as you can see, when it's on its stand, it is a little bit bigger, but definitely not anywhere close to twice as big to justify being more than twice the price. So yeah, I think you get the idea now. But now actually diving into the build itself, starting off with the front dock area or entrance here, the first thing you'll notice about it is that it's protruding out of the build at a diagonal angle, giving it an awesome look. And because it's at an angle, it's not connected to anything out front here, it's just connected at one section in the back. So it does sit here pretty loosely, as you can see, and it's of course loaded with detail. The most obvious thing to note about it is that giant brick built skull at the top. There's also a printed sign right here that says Pirate Bar on it, and then it has a very detailed sort of shag roof, as you can see here, with lots of plants growing on it, along with some wooden and brick looking walls that also have plants growing on them. Again, it is just immensely detailed. I mean, it's literally just eye candy. The dock itself is also pretty cool. You're gonna have a printed board piece right there on the front, along with a little light post, and then some caught fish hanging on both the left side and the right side. On the right side, you might have also noticed there's this little boat right here, and it's very simple. I mean, it's just one big boat mold with a few seats in the middle, and then of course some paddles. Again, very simple design, not a whole lot to look at, but the detail behind the boat is really good. As you can see, there's some pretty nice looking rock work right there with some plants kind of growing out of it, and then on the corner right here, you're gonna have this little area with these giant barrels and then some stacked bottles above them, and a little palm tree and even more rock work, and then a starfish kind of floating above the water. There really are just so many different things going on with this build. But then moving up a layer, right above that corner section, you're gonna have what's like the front half of a pirate ship sticking out right here. That's sort of like a little private bar area with this cool brick-built chair, and then this giant brick-built bowsprit that's sticking out the front of the ship that they just went crazy with. I mean, it's super detailed, and as you can see there's a molded squid piece underneath it. You're then going to have a little ladder right here that drops down to this sort of balcony area that is connected to the side left wall right here, and this wall area definitely isn't as detailed as the front. However, it still has some amount of thought put into it with some vines growing down and whatnot. From there, you're also going to have these two larger ladders that lead up to the very top of the build, and then from there you're going to have the giant overflowing bottle of rum, and this just makes this whole set so over the top and exaggerated. It almost makes this whole thing feel like something you'd see at like a theme park or at some type of tourist attraction. The whole thing is just this super over the top, over exaggerated fantasy pirate building with this giant bottle of rum kind of being the cherry on top, and I freaking love it. I think it's great. Anyways though, moving away from the giant bottle of rum to the other side of the build, this wall is definitely a lot more detailed with some rock work and brickwork and woodwork all at the bottom here, and then the side of the back half of the aforementioned pirate ship up here at the top. And the back half of this pirate ship has a lot going on. As you can see here, there's a table with just a giant feast on it pretty much. Lots of bottles and cups and food, and then a giant barrel with a dispenser on it at the back. And then of course you're going to have the mast of the ship with the printed skull flag up at the very top, and then the torn sail at the bottom, almost making this seem like it's supposed to be some type of ghost ship. At the very back end here, you're going to have some gold pieces and lanterns up at the top, which give it a nice touch. And then the right side of the ship is also extremely detailed with some nice woodwork and even more plants growing out of it. And then lastly, for the exterior of the build, you're going to have this corner area right here where there's quite a bit going on. The first thing you might notice is this giant skull made out of the rock work, which looks awesome. And then towards the bottom down here at the water, there's going to be even more nice rock work with a crab in the water and some plants and some planks floating around the water as well. And then on the actual dock itself, you're going to find this little cat piece mold and then even more printed wooden plank pieces up here at the front, which look really good. There's also of course this giant sort of fishing crane right here that sticks out way over the water, and it looks great. It makes use of more of those printed wooden plank pieces. It's also got some gears and then a wheel down at the bottom to control it, and it can actually turn and move up and down. You just release it with this little chain piece right here, and it has a pretty large turn radius as you can see here, and then of course you can raise and lower the cage up and down, and then when you're done with it, you just use that chain piece to attach it back to the dock. And then that is actually everything there is to see with the exterior of the build. However, of course, now we gotta take a look at the interior, and we'll start up here at the top with the back half of the pirate ship. This side wall right here can actually completely swing open, and on the inside here, there's quite a bit going on. You got this chest full of gold pieces and then gold pieces all over the floor. You also got a nice little bed build here in the corner with a printed book laying on it, and then on the other side, you have a desk with a printed treasure map and a printed compass. It's kind of hard to pick up on camera, but if you look closely, it's there. But then to access the bottom layers of the interior, since the set is modular, this whole section right here can just very easily pop off, where you're going to get access to the floor underneath the back half of the pirate ship, which is supposed to be the kitchen. There's a hanging meat rack right there, and then some printed raw meat pieces on the table, along with some more random things in the corner, like a little round table and then a barrel in the back holding some weapons. Since that section is removed, you're also going to get a good look at the sort of middle area of the build behind the bottle and behind the front entrance area. Not a lot going on, mainly just some empty rooms. I don't think these are really intended to be used, but you're also of course going to be able to get a good look at the main bar and lounge area down here on the bottom floor. And then for even more access, like the wall up top, this sidewall down here at the bottom can also swing open. Down here you can get a good look at the diagonal hallway that comes from the entrance into this main room. There's also this area in the corner with some bottles piled up on a table, and then a barrel with a dispenser on it, and some swords on the wall. And then in the middle of the floor, there's of course a bunch of tables with stuff on them. It looks like a pub. I mean, you got food, you got bottles, you got everything. Back here in the back corner, there's also this sort of fireplace area built into the rockwork. And then finally on the wall that I just showed that can open up, there are some printed wanted posters of what I assume is supposed to be the Kraken. But then from there, when you're done with the interior, you of course just close that bottom wall back up, and then grab the giant modular boat section and sit it back on the top. And then that is all there is to see with this enormous build. Again, I hate to sound like a broken record at this point, but whoever designed this set was just out of their mind. I mean, they just had to be on something because it is so creative, it is so visually striking. It's honestly one of the best display pieces I've ever seen before out of any set I own. And no, I'm not just saying this because I got it for free, I'm saying this because it genuinely blew me away. When I initially received it, I was not expecting all this. And again, the fact that it's only $140 is just so insane. That is such a cheap price for a set of this size. If this was an official Lego set, it'd probably be pushing around $500. So if I have to rate this thing out of 10, I'm gonna give it a solid 9.5. The reason I'm taking out half a point is just because, like I showed earlier, the minifigures kind of suck. So let me know what you guys think about this set down in the comments below. If you're new, please consider subscribing, and if you want to check out more of my videos, you can see them on the end screen right now.